The Lemoore incident. Finale scratching and skittering noises outside their window drew the family's attention. Emma quickly turned on her phone's flashlight and shone it on the glass. The family gasped at the sight of a large, mutated cockroach the size of a house cat clinging to the outside of their window. As the hotel lights flickered on and off, more roaches swarmed to the window, attracted by the illumination, completely covering it. "Turn off the lights now," Ben ordered, his voice urgent and demanding. He swiftly closed the curtains, while Logan turned off the lights, plunging the room into darkness once more. With each passing second, their fear grew, and Ben knew they had to find a way out of this nightmare. A sudden explosion of glass shattered the tense silence, as the giant-sized cockroaches poured into the room through the imploded window. Ben's heart raced as he instinctively grabbed his kids, feeling their warm bodies trembling against him. "Come on!" he shouted, rushing out into the hallway with Logan and Emma in tow. He slammed the door shut behind them, the sound echoing down the corridor. The kids clung to him, sobbing uncontrollably. "Everything's going to be okay," Ben tried to reassure them, even though he himself was terrified. "I won't let anything happen to you." As they caught their breath, a hauntingly familiar voice drifted toward them. "Logan, Emma." It was Carolyn, their deceased mother. Her ghostly image appeared at the end of the hall, bathed in an eerie glow, beckoning them. "Mom, is that you?" Logan whispered, taking a tentative step toward her. "Wait, Logan," Ben warned, gripping his son's shoulder firmly. "That's not your mother." "Then who is it, Dad?" Emma asked, her eyes wide with fear. "How is Mom here?" Ben swallowed hard. "I don't know what it is, but we can't trust it. You're not my mom. Go away!" Logan yelled with tears in his eyes. The figure resembling their mom started walking towards them, anger contorting her once gentle face. She let out a blood-curdling, monstrous scream, her lower jaw extending grotesquely to expose a cavernous mouth lined with razor-sharp teeth. As her limbs elongated and claws sprouted from her fingers, she dropped to all fours and charged toward them like a wild beast. "Run!" Ben yelled, pushing his children ahead of him as they sprinted down the hallway together. The monstrous creature closed in, its guttural growls filling their ears. "Please, God," Emma prayed silently. "Please help us." Without warning, a deafening explosion reverberated through the hall, causing their ears to ring and their hearts to race. The creature screeched in agony, its sharp claws digging into the carpeted floor as it stumbled backwards. Ben spun around just in time to see a man emerge from an open hotel room doorway, his eyes blazing with determination as he aimed a shotgun at the monster. The sound of another gunshot split the air, sending shivers down Ben's spine as it effectively stopped the creature's relentless pursuit. The scent of gunpowder and fear hung heavy in the air as Ben took a moment to catch his breath while staring at the brave stranger who had just saved their lives. "Get back!" the man shouted, leveling his weapon at the beast. It hesitated for a moment before leaping out of a nearby window and disappearing into the darkness. "Thank you," Ben gasped, relief washing over him. The man with the shotgun shook his head. "I don't know what the hell is going on here, but I think we should stick together." Ben's heart pounded in his chest as he led his family to the hotel lobby, where a small group of survivors were present. The air was thick with fear, as the frightened guests huddled together, sharing their harrowing encounters with monsters and terrifying visions. Ben listened intently, trying to make sense of the chaos that had suddenly enveloped their world. "Everyone, please remain calm," one of the hotel employees, Jason, implored, his voice cracking under the strain. "There's enough food, water, and blankets from the store for everyone. We need to stay together and try to rest." As if on cue, a monstrous roar echoed through the fog outside, causing everyone in the lobby to flinch. Ben gripped his children's hands tighter, feeling a cold sweat break out across his brow. "All right," Jason continued, his voice barely audible over the pounding of Ben's heart. "The sun is due to come up in a few hours, and we can decide what to do then." "Fine," Ben agreed, along with a couple of other guests. "We'll keep watch while the others rest." The distant glow of early morning tried in vain to break through the thick blanket of fog that hung heavily over the group. A man, dressed in a crisp uniform and a friendly smile, introduced himself as their bus driver. He informed them that he had parked a large, sturdy bus just outside the hotel's entrance. With confidence, he assured them that there was enough room for everyone on board and that they could finally escape from their current predicament if they could only reach it. "And go where?" snapped one of the guests, her face red with anger and fear. "For all we know, this is happening everywhere." "We won't know until we try," the bus driver replied calmly. Before anyone could respond, a deafening crash sounded as the front lobby doors exploded inward. Everyone screamed, instinctively shielding themselves from the flying shards of glass and metal. Through the settling dust, the unmistakable shape of a military armored reconnaissance vehicle emerged. Soldiers, wearing gas masks and carrying machine guns, appeared from the fog and surrounded the vehicle. The group huddled together, trembling with terror as a soldier stepped forward. Staff Sergeant Smith removed his mask, revealing a weathered face that seemed to have seen it all. "How many survivors are here?" he asked, his voice firm but not unkind. The hotel manager stuttered out a response. I think just us. We haven't checked. Whose bus is that out front?" Smith inquired. "Mine," the bus driver said, stepping forward. "Load up on the bus," Smith ordered. "We'll escort you to a quarantine zone where you'll be safe." With their hearts pounding, the group made their way through the parking lot towards the bus. Suddenly, a large centipede-like creature lunged at one of the soldiers, devouring him whole. The remaining soldiers opened fire, their machine guns blazing, killing the creature. "Move now!" one of the soldiers yelled, waving frantically towards the bus. As they boarded, Ben couldn't shake the feeling that their nightmare was far from over. The fog swirled and twisted around the bus, swallowing up the remains of abandoned cars and trucks that they passed. Ben stared out the window, watching as flickering flames in the distance illuminated the eerie dance of the mist for brief moments before being swallowed up once more. The palpable tension inside the bus made it hard to breathe, the air heavy with fear and uncertainty. "Staff Sergeant Smith, do you have any idea what's happening?" Ben asked, his voice hoarse from lack of sleep. He couldn't help but think of his wife, who he had lost in the chaos at the hotel. Smith sighed and shook his head as he looked at Ben. "Honestly, sir, I'm not exactly sure. Our base was put on high alert a few hours before this fog appeared. We thought it was just a drill, but then we heard explosions in the distance." "Explosions?" Ben's heart raced, his mind conjuring up images of the horrors they might be facing. "So where are we going?" "We're taking you to a quarantine zone our base set up for survivors," Smith explained. "From what we've been able to gather from radio chatter, this is only happening in a 150 square mile area. As for these monsters, they wiped out most of our Strikeforce in under 30 minutes. We were on the brink of collapse when reinforcements from the rest of the US military arrived." Before Ben could ask another question, the bus screeched to a halt, jolting everyone inside. One of the soldiers stood up and demanded, "What's going on? Why did we stop?" The bus driver pointed ahead, where a burning truck lay on its side, completely blocking their path. Shadows flitted through the fog, too fast to make out clearly. A cold shiver ran down Ben's spine as tentacles began to slide down the bus windows. The bus started to rock, and then, with a lurch, was lifted off the ground. Screams filled the air as the passengers clung to their seats. The roar of jet engines overhead pierced the fog, followed by a deafening explosion that shook the bus. Whatever monster had been holding them in its grip released them, sending the bus crashing to the ground. Ben's ears rang as he struggled to his feet, taking in the scene around him. Half the group was attempting to stand while others lay still, not moving. He looked over at his kids, who were shaken but alive, their faces covered in scratches and bruises. Relief washed over him for a moment before he noticed the rear of the bus, now open and exposing them to the outside. A demonic baboon-like creature with 4 arms and 2 legs stood there staring straight at Ben. More of these creatures emerged from the fog surrounding the bus. They must have been the shadows they saw earlier. The monster bared its teeth in a terrifying roar and lunged forward, attacking the closest person on the bus. Panic erupted as the rest of the creatures rushed onto the bus, tearing into everyone in their path. The world outside the bus windows was a blur of monstrous shapes and fog, the screams inside echoing like a twisted symphony. Ben tried to shield his children from the chaos, his heart pounding in his ears. "Everyone, get down!" Staff Sergeant Smith bellowed through the cacophony, firing his weapon at the advancing creatures. "Mommy, I'm scared!" Ben's daughter Emily cried, her face streaked with tears. "Me too, sweetheart," Ben admitted, holding her tight. "But we'll be okay, I promise." "Take that, you ugly bastards!" shouted another soldier, desperately trying to fend off the creatures. "Watch out!" the bus driver yelled as one of the baboon-like monsters lunged towards him, its teeth bared for the kill. "Get away from him!" Ben screamed, grabbing a fire extinguisher from the wreckage and swinging it at the creature, striking it on the head. It staggered back, snarling in anger. "Ben, behind you!" Smith warned, taking aim at another creature approaching from the rear. "Thanks," Ben muttered, still clutching the extinguisher as if it were a lifeline. "All right, everyone listen up. We need to make a break for it," Smith commanded, his voice cutting through the panic. "We'll have to fight our way through these things, but there's no other choice." "Let's do it," Ben agreed, determination stealing his resolve. "I won't let these monsters take my family." "Good man," Smith nodded. "On my count. 1, 2, 3, go." As they charged forward, the radio strapped to one of the soldiers crackled to life. "Quarantine Zone Alpha has been overrun. Requesting immediate reinforcements." The message was cut short by static, leaving an eerie silence in its wake. Outside the bus, the fog swirled and danced around the desperate fight for survival. The ground quaked beneath their feet as a deafening roar echoed through the air, chilling them to the bone. "Keep moving!" Ben yelled, pushing his children ahead of him. "We can't stop now!" But even as they fought with all their might, the relentless monsters continued their assault on the bus, their shrieks merging with those of the humans in a terrifying chorus. And as the roar shook the ground once more, it became clear that whatever awaited them in the fog was far from over. Please like and subscribe for more great content.